Toronto vintage clothing crawl. No. Vintage clothing. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I feel like I have to say that in a YouTube video. That make me a real YouTuber now. Anyway, today I'm giving you my top thrifting tips, which is something that a lot of you ask me about. I was originally going to make this a blog post and I was saying I was going to do it, but that was in September, I think. So it's now March, end of March, and better late than never. So I wear a ton of thrifted clothing. I've been thrifting for a long time. My mom and my sister kind of got me into it, just because it was fun. We would go and like grab a coffee and then just like go to Goodwill or Value Village and look around. My sister was always more into it than I was when I was growing up, because she's a little bit cooler than me. But recently, like, I go to Value Village probably twice a month minimum. So obviously there are a few reasons why I thrift, price being a big one. I know Value Village has increased their prices, which is annoying, but it's still so much cheaper than buying stuff from like the mall all the time. So that's a factor that I take into consideration. It's better for the environment because you're reusing things. It lowers the demand for fast fashion, things like that, and then also because it's unique. So when you're wearing something thrifted, you know that not everyone's gonna have it. It's nice to have those unique pieces that you know you're not gonna find anywhere else, and it's fun. I have so much fun when I go thrifting. It's very rewarding. Alright, so I'm just gonna jump right in instead of making you guys wait even longer for my tips. So my first tip when you go thrift shopping is to make time for it. You're gonna find a lot more things if you aren't in a rush and if you're a little bit patient. Just make sure that you have enough time to actually go in and look at everything, because you're definitely not gonna find anything if you're in a rush, if you're on a time constraint. If I pop in somewhere knowing that I can fully like take my time and browse through everything, I have more fun and I also find more things. I would go in and browse through the hangers and look at each piece and just like take your time and not rush it, because otherwise you're not as likely to walk out with something you like. My second tip is to expand your horizons on where you go thrift shopping. So my go-to is Value Village because it's like down the street. It's not far from me. I used to shop at Goodwill a lot back when they had their stores. I don't know if they still have them in the States, but I know they closed all the ones in Ontario. But whether you're going to like Value Village or you're going to Salvation Army, it's good just to try out new stores. Going to a different area and trying the Value Village there. Sometimes like neighborhoods will vary in like demographics, obviously, so you can find different things going to the same store in a different place. You can also find a lot of really good thrift shopping in like little independent stores. There's a lot in Toronto, which is really nice. They curate it a little bit more. You might be more likely to find something that's trendy there, but the prices are usually a little higher, so that's something to take into consideration. And then just looking around to see if there's like any vintage events going on. So I know Toronto has a couple. I go to the Vintage Crawl Toronto, and basically it's just a bunch of different thrift shops around the city that some do pop-ups, some just stay open later, and you go around the city. They have a little map and you can stop in after hours, take a look. A lot of the time they'll do special promotions, which is nice. And some spots even have like drinks or snacks. So that happens twice a year. And then there's also the Toronto Vintage Clothing Show, which happens at Exhibition Place. And that happens twice a year as well. I didn't go to the spring one because I'm saving for Paris, but that one is huge. So you have to have a full day set aside for that one. So just take a look around at what is in your city. You can always go back to Goodwill, Value Village, anything like that. Those ones are always like my go-tos. But then to find something a little bit more interesting, or if you want to make a day out of it, it's always nice to find like an event or a couple independent stores that are close together that you can go check out. Because I do love supporting the independent vintage shops as well. Now that you've made time and you know where you're going, into the actual shopping tips. The first one for me is wearability. So when I go thrift shopping, I usually look for, the first thing is like colors. A lot of the time when you're thrift shopping, a lot of the clothes are squished together. If you can sort of scan it out and see which sections have more colors that you like, or more fabrics, or just sort of narrowing it down so you think of like, what would I actually wear. But it also extends into like, my issue is that I'll buy something and then realize that I'm not actually going to wear it. So I have done that before, where I've gone out and I've bought something that's super cute and definitely like vintage, and I got it for a great price and I think it's really cool, but it sits in my closet because I don't know how to wear it. I can't see myself wearing it. Just like things like that. I wish I could wear those things, but I know that's not my style. So I think you have to really keep your closet in mind when you go thrift shopping. For me personally, I prefer to get pieces that I know that I love and that match things in my closet that I can wear, and not just gather dust. So my next tip, and this one is huge for me, try on the pieces you find every time. I just think that if you're going to go to the effort to look for things while you're thrift shopping and make that time, you want to go home with stuff that you know you're gonna wear. So this goes back to the wearability, I guess, but the sizes when you go thrift shopping are always different, because for some reason society keeps changing labels, and like a size 10 in like the 80s is not a size 10 now. So you want to make sure that you're trying stuff on so that you do get a good fit. You don't want to just like hold it up and see if it's gonna fit, because that doesn't always work. And sometimes when you try something on, even if it does fit, it just doesn't do anything for you, or it doesn't look the way you thought it would. So a giant tip for me is to try it on, because you can't return thrifted items, and you don't want to buy something and spend your money on it if you know like you're not sure that you're gonna wear it, or you don't know how it's gonna look on you. So please just try things on. And that leads into my next tip, which is to dress appropriately when you go thrift shopping. And I don't mean like there's a specific dress code. Wear something comfortable, something that's easy to get in and out of. You want to be able to go from one outfit to the next in the change room pretty quickly. Like for me, I like to go thrift shopping and try stuff on when I'm wearing a very simple outfit, something that I know that I'm not going to be annoyed to take on and off a couple times. And then a lot of the time I'll also wear like nude underwear or high-waisted underwear, just depending on what I'm looking for. Also just like wearing basics to go thrift shopping, so you can try stuff on like with a good pair of jeans that you have to see how it looks together, or looking for tops, you want to see how they're going to look tucked into your pant. It's not always like predicted in advance, but it is easier to go thrift shopping when you have a very easy basic outfit on, because it's just a hassle when you have layers, and going thrift shopping in over-the-knee boots is not fun. It's a lot of work. So my next tip is to do a quality check. I like to do like a bit of a once-over of it to see if there's any little holes, any stains. I know a lot of the independent places are pretty good with that stuff. They're not going to sell you something that is tarnished, but I still like to look. Whereas Value Village, you never really know. Just checking to see what the quality is, if there's any buttons missing, if the zipper is broken. So just things like that. And buttons are a pretty easy fix, but you have to know how much effort you're willing to put into something, because if you're not going to change a button or hem those pants or iron something, then it's probably not worth getting. So it just depends on like how you're feeling about it. If it's something that you love but there's like a minor little rip in it, you could probably get that fixed. But if you're like so about it, then it's probably not worth going to get that fixed. One thing I like to do to check for the quality of something, and I'm going to show you with my new blazer. So I got this last week. It's Le Chateau. So when I looked at this one, I could tell it was sort of new because of the label. So I don't know if it's going to focus properly, but Le Chateau changed its logo within like the last couple years. So I know that this is their new logo. I know that it's a pretty recent piece that they've designed. And then when you look at it, you can see like, okay, it needs to be lint brushed, but there's no major marks on it. The pockets look like they've barely been used. It's not like pulled or anything. And then one major thing I look for is the hem or the cuff. So when you're looking at this, you can see there's no rips, there's no like rubbing on it. If someone had been wearing this a lot, then there would usually be more signs of wear around the cuff because you do a lot with your hands. You touch it, you roll them up. So that's usually a pretty good indicator of how worn something is. And then on the inside, the lining is still ironed and like pressed to be folded in like that. So you know that it hasn't been worn very much. It just gives you a little bit more of a sense of like whether or not this has been worn 100 times or like twice. So I got lucky with this one and it's like brand new. You never really know what you're gonna find. You just have to be mindful of if there are issues with a piece, if you're gonna take the time to go and fix it. And if not, then it's not worth getting. Just remember your own style when you go thrift shopping. Take the time, try new things. If you're not sure about something, try it on. That's like my motto. If I think something's sort of cute but I'm not 100% sure about it, just try it on. I found a lot of things that I usually wouldn't have worn just from trying them on. So that's obviously my main tip here that I'm trying to ingrain into everyone's heads because I know we're lazy and we don't like trying stuff on. But it really does make a difference. Hopefully I can take you guys thrift shopping with me in a video sometime soon. But I hope that this was worth the wait, and I hope you think of me next time you go thrift shopping. Comment below if you thought these tips were helpful. And subscribe, like, all those things that you're supposed to say at the end of the YouTube video, and I'll see you guys next time.